welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to share some books that I've purchased over the last 2 months. I've already talked about a couple of these books in my monthly wrap-up, so I'm not going to give much of a description here because I feel like that would be super repetitive, but I will link my October wrap-up in the description. So let's get started. The last time that I went to an actual retailer to purchase books was early October, so I'm going to separate my books based on where they came from. And the first place that I shopped was Barnes & Noble. I went to Barnes & Noble with 2 people from my book club. The first book I picked up was Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. This book is a sequel to Serpent and Dove, which came out last year, and then I think the third one is coming out next year. Follows a witch and witch hunter as they navigate through life of being hunted by not only other witch hunters, but also the witch's coven. I don't want to give too much away. I did read this book in November, so I will do a better review with my November wrap-up, but it's the first book that I picked up. Next book, The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I read this book in October. It is one of the books that I talked about in my October wrap-up. We'll put the link down in the description. I really enjoyed this book. I love a good cult story, and I feel like this followed, even though it wasn't explicitly called a cult, I feel like the religious aspect of this story was very culty. So I found this super enjoyable. If you are looking for a good spooky read, highly suggest it. Go in with an open mind, and I think you'll enjoy it. The next book I picked up was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is such a good book. I read it in November, so I'm trying not to give too much away because I will include it in my November wrap-up, but Mexican Gothic was a thoroughly enjoyable book. It really is a Gothic novel taking place in 1950s Mexico. If you enjoy Gothic novels or if you are intrigued by the 1950s era, I strongly suggest it either way. It was beautifully written. I think it took me only a couple days to finish because it was such a good book. It doesn't read like a standard horror story because you need to think this is a Gothic novel. So if you read it thinking Gothic novel, I think you'll get much more enjoyment out of it than you would if you read it thinking, oh, this is a horror story. So Mexican Gothic, I will go over this more in my November wrap-up. Next, The Return of the Thief by Megan Welland Turner. This is the final book in a series called The Queen's Thief. It starts with the story The Thief, then The Queen of Atolia, then The King of Atolia, and there's a couple more and I can't remember their titles. This series is one that I have followed since middle school. I remember checking out The Thief and The Queen of Atolia from my school library, and I have loved this series forever. I reread it every now and then just because it's such a great story, and the main character, Eugenides, his character arc is one that's really fun to follow as you move through the books, because you start out with him being a little bit childish, and then you can see his maturity progression as you read the other stories. And I will always come back to this series. It's one of my favorite. I have not read this book yet because, honestly, I don't want the series to end. Even though I know I can go back and reread the other ones, I'm not ready to say goodbye to these characters and know how it ends altogether. I am very excited to read it. I know that I will get to it at some point. It's just not something I'm ready to pick up right yet because I feel like I'd be saying goodbye to characters that I love. Next is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This book was suggested in one of the booktubers that I follow. It's about witches that come back every year to drown someone in their town. I have not read it, so I do not have a huge description for you, but I will link other people's description down in the description. And when I do read it, I will include it in my wrap-up. Next book, it was on my November TBR, but I'm moving it to December because I feel like it's just a little bit more December-y. I feel like this book is going to be super fun to read, but I am moving it from my November TBR to my December TBR, and it is The House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. I've heard that this book is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses fairy tale, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've also heard that it's a little bit creepy and it's like stepping inside of a gothic fairy tale. So I'm looking forward to that. I do want to read it in December, so I'm moving it from November to December, and I hopefully will get to it very soon because it looks great. I've heard really great things about it, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. The next book that I picked up was Havenfall by Sarah Holland. This is the last book that I actually purchased from a physical retailer in October and November. And this book is about a hidden world that can be found in the mountains of Colorado. There's magic, some mysticism. I have not read it yet. It is on my TBR. I'm very much looking forward to it. And can I just say, like, this cover is beautiful. I don't know why I didn't notice that this is a face the first time I saw it, but it's definitely a face. It took me until yesterday to figure out that there was an actual face on the cover because I saw a preview for the next book and noticed there was a face on that book. So yeah, I'm just a little bit delayed in figuring all this out, but I'm looking forward to this and I will include it in any wrap-ups when I do read it. Next, I'm going to focus on the books that I purchased from Thrift Books this month, and there's quite a few. The next two books that I picked up are Tiny Pretty Things and Shiny Broken Pieces by Sonia Charapatra and Danielle Clayton. I'm very much looking forward to both of these books. I know that they are going to be a Netflix series that's supposed to come out in December, so my goal is to read both of these before I start the show. Even if I don't finish before December 14th, the show's release date, I am going to wait to watch until I finish both books. The next two books I have are Tidelands by Philippa Gregory and the subsequent novel, Dark Tides. I picked up Tidelands because I actually won an ARC giveaway of Dark Tides from GoodReads. I did not really think that I was going to win this, so I'm looking forward to it. It follows a woman in the 1600s in England, so it's a historical fiction, and I am intrigued by this novel because the tag on the inside cover says England, 1648. It's a dangerous time for a woman to be different. So I'm very much intrigued by this. My goal was to get to them in November, but I don't know if I will, just because I'm kind of in a, not a slump, but I'm just bleh. I think teaching is exhausting the week before Thanksgiving, so I don't know if I will get to these, but my goal is to read them before the end of the year. Next, I have Leviathan by Scott Westerfield. This was suggested by Haley from Haley in Bookland. She included it in one of her older videos where she talks about, oh gosh, what does she talk about? It's either a haul or a wrap-up, and she said that this is a historical fiction, but steampunk World War I, and that really intrigued me, so I picked that up from Thrift Books. I still have to peel the sticker off, which is my least favorite thing to do, but I will get there. The next book I picked up is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am very excited to read this. I think Haley also covered this in one of her book hauls or wrap-ups. It's a story about a band, and it's told in interview-style writing, so you have a question, then you have the people answering, so I'm really looking forward to that. I purchased Invictus. I think it was Brittany from Brittany the Bibliophile who talked about this book. It's a heist on the Titanic, so I'm super excited to read this. It came actually because I ordered so many books on Thrift Books, I got a free book. So this is how I ended up with both Invictus and the next book that I purchased. The next book I got for free because I ordered so much from Thrift Books is Year One by Nora Roberts. This book is about a virus that ravages through the population on New Year's Eve. So pretty apropos for COVID times. I haven't read it yet just because I am not in the headspace for it, but I am looking forward to it. I know that it's a series, so there are 2 more books that come after this. The next 2 books I picked up are The 1000th Floor and The Dazzling Heights by Catherine McGee. I know it is a trilogy. I do not have the 3rd book yet. It is on my TBR or TB purchased. But I got these both from Thrift Books, and it is about futuristic New York. So I am super excited to read these. I was told that they are a little bit mysterious in that you don't know exactly what's happening, so I'm looking forward to that. And can we just say, like, the inside cover pages are beautiful. Look at that. Oh, it's stunning. And I love that the tagline on the top of this one says, "The higher you are, the farther you fall." And this one says, all that glitters is not gold. So, pretty clever. I like them. I'm excited. Oh, that's it. No, it's not it. I have more. The last 2 books that I have for the month of October and November are The Betrothed by Kira Cass and Part of Your World by Liz Braswell. First, The Betrothed. I've heard lots of mixed reviews about this book. I am hesitant to say that I'm definitely going to love it, but I did really enjoy this selection, so I'm going to give it a chance. And I have Part of Your World, which I'm super excited for. This is my first twisted tale that I've ever picked up. It is a twisted tale, which means it is a different take on Disney stories. It says, what if Ariel had never defeated Ursula? I'm already sucked in. I can't wait to read this. It's definitely on my TBR, and it's kind of inspired me to look for other Little Mermaid retellings that may not be clearly The Little Mermaid, but has threads of The Little Mermaid running through it. I'm super intrigued by this book. I really love how the cover looks. I think it's beautiful. It also has that kind of smooth, soft feeling that you get sometimes on book covers, which I really love. And I'm super excited to read it. I'm going to try to finish some other books that I have in front of me first, but it is on my bookshelf on my TBR. If I really enjoy this book, I'm probably going to pick up more Twisted Tales just because the concept of retelling a Disney story with alternative endings is super exciting for me. I think I'd really enjoy it, and I think it would be a pretty quick read because the text takes up only part of the page and it's fairly large. So this is my last book. I feel really inspired by all of the books that I picked up this month. I'm looking forward to reading them. I think a couple of them are going to really surprise me, and I can't wait to share it all with you. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time.